So in this video, I'm going to be talking about a declaration you have to make by June 2023 regarding your French properties. So whether you're living in France and you have one or several properties, or whether you are a non-French resident but have some properties in France, you have to listen in because that's something you need to declare. So we're going to be talking about this déclaration de biens immobiliers, which is declaring all the properties that you have in France. And we're going to be talking about taxe d'habitation. So if you've been in France for a few years, you know that taxe d'habitation is a tax that we used to pay to the government for the properties that we own. So it's like a housing tax. And for the last few years, it's been steadily deleted, suppressed, abolished. And basically this year in 2023, nobody should be paying some taxe foncière on their main property. You've heard the clue here, main property, résidence principale. So you have to listen to résidence principale, that's your main home where you're actually living. Et résidence secondaire is your secondary home, if it's a holiday home or it's a home that you've invested in for an Airbnb, for instance. So basically with this deadline, you have to declare all the properties that you have in France, whether it's a main home, secondary home, a garage, a parking lot that you've invested in. The question is, how do you declare those properties? So you need to log in onto your impogouv.fr account, go into your personal account, that's the blue one, espace personnel, that's the one that you've used in the past to complete and declare your French income tax form. So when you log in, you will see on there that there's a new tab called Biens immobiliers, and that's where you have to go. And I'm going to show you in a moment how to go and check this information. Now, what do you do if you don't have an impogouv.fr account? It could be that you just purchased a property, you haven't declared anything in France yet. And as a reminder, if you live abroad and have a property in France that you rent on Airbnb, you need to declare it as non-professional. It's called LMNP. Just watch my other videos. And you need to declare this income, this rental income in France. So if you have a gîte, holiday rental, Airbnb, you need to declare that income in France. So basically, if you don't have an account yet, what you're going to do is you're going to get in touch with your local tax office, trésorerie, finances publiques, we call it impôt to be generic. And if you're living abroad and you can't get in touch locally, you're going to get in touch with Service Impôt des Non-Résidents. It's basically the tax office that's dealing purely with non-French residents. So anyone who has a property in France that don't live in France, you are relating to Service Impôt des Non-Résidents. They're based in Noisy-le-Grand. And I will add their details below the video. There's an English helpline that you can get in touch with, for instance, to create your account. Now, why is the French government asking us to declare the properties? Don't they already know about it? Well, chances are that they know about most properties, and when you log in and you go to your biens immobiliers, at least your main home will be there. If there were other goods, it will be there and you just go and check it. The reason why they're just assessing all the properties is to be able to make the distinction between résidence principale, résidence secondaire. Basically, that taxe d'habitation has disappeared for your main property, but if this is an investment, you've got 1, 2, 3 flats, 1, 2, 3 gîtes, it's an investment, it's a secondary home, and therefore you will pay taxe d'habitation. Taxe d'habitation, that website impogouv.fr will be useful because basically this is where your bill will be posted, and usually this bill is posted around September, October time. You have to go online, check the amount, validate it, and pay it. So here's your task. You've got to create your account, log in, and check the information, update it if it's wrong. Basically, you have to say, do you own this good? Are you living in it? If somebody else is living in it, give the details of that person. If you sold a property, you also need to inform them. So what will happen in the future? Well, I guess that in the future, every year you might have to log in, or whenever you buy or sell a property, you probably will want to go and log in and update those records so you don't overpay your taxe d'habitation on your secondary home. So I'm just going to show you now how you go onto that Impôt Gouv account on your personal account, what it looks like and what you have to do. I'm going to show you where you're going to be going to check the information on your property or your properties. So you have to log in your impotgouv.fr account, and we're going to go on the blue section, which is your personal space. So I don't want to talk about business, I always talk about the red one, which is for your business, but here we're going on the blue section because we want to look at your personal details and check the information that they have on your business. You have to add your numéro fiscal. If you've declared your income tax in the past in France, you will find that reference on your avis d'impôt sur le revenu. If it's your first time in France and you haven't completed a French income tax yet, you'll have to get in touch with your local tax office in order for them to create your numéro fiscal. So then you just enter your password. And here you have the space you might recognize where you have your dashboard, some information about how you're paying your taxes, your profile. Just below here is the last few taxes that you've received, so the information on your income tax form from 2022 if you had it, taxe d'habitation for 2022, and in my case already last year, for the last 2 years, the taxe d'habitation was already at €0 because that was the process that the French government was going towards trying to delete the taxe d'habitation. And here you can see there's a new tab called Biens immobiliers, so that's the tab that you have to go onto, and you can see the next tab, Biens immobiliers, on the right hand side you have service available in English. So for now I'll just show you in English, but in French, sorry, but basically you should have one tab per property that you have. Here there's an information to check on the property here in Lepier where I live. And basically they say there is one declaration expected, so you can for instance on that property it says the address of the property. You can check the information that they have, and then you have to handle the declaration. So far it says that's the space of the house, the number of rooms that you have, and if you click on consulter, then you have a PDF, and the PDF just shows you basically it's just a summary of your personal details, the description of the premises, so whether it's a house, whether it's a parking space, whether it's an investment into a parking space, whether it's a storage room. You have the address and a bit more information on the size of the property, the number of rooms, as well as the reference. You have référence cadastre. So référence cadastre is when you bought your property on the legal document that you had from the notaire. It gives you the plot. So on this page, it basically tells you the information that they have so far on the property. So they said that according to their own records, on the 1st of Jan, this is the person that was living in this property. And you have to confirm if you're okay with the details that are there, that the person whose name is here is the person living in the property. You just click on aucun changement, no changes. Or if for instance, if this property was rented to someone and you had somebody else, like a long-term person renting your property, you might do new situation where you're going to add the details of the new person. So if you're okay with the details, then you click on aucun changement, and that's the summary of the situation, the address of the property, the name of the person living in the property, and when did this person move in this property, or when did this person became the owner of the property. So if you bought a French property, it would say here occupation. That would be the starting date when you bought the property. So then you can click on valider et transmettre, and that's it for this one. So basically you have to go back to Biens immobiliers and check if you have some other properties, add the information, say whether the property is empty, if there's somebody living there, if it's rented to someone, and you have to do this for each good that you own. To keep up to date about laws that impact you as an individual or your business in France, make sure you subscribe to my channel.